The blue and reds have already found your mirrors. You pull over, kill the engine, and wind the window down. License out, wrists resting on the wheel. Everything by the book. The officer takes his time on the walk up. He looks at the license, then past you along the seats, and says it almost gently. Do us a favour and step out of the car for me. Your hand is on the seatbelt before your brain catches up. Stop there. In America, police have ordered drivers out as a matter of course since 1977. No reason needed. Australia never passed that rule. But refusing a lawful direction here costs up to $5,500 or 12 months, which means the next 10 seconds hold a trap on both sides of the door. And the drivers who pick wrong find out what it cost them months later. The patrol car idles behind you, and a second officer drifts along the passenger side. Your thumb is still on the buckle. Hold it there because this direction is neither automatically lawful nor automatically a bluff. In Australia, the power to order you out of a car is parasitic. It only exists when it's riding on another power. An arrest, a search, a test, a seizure. Which one is riding tonight is the entire question, and the officer is hoping you never ask it. The latter is simple. An exit becomes an observation becomes a search becomes a court date, with the way you left this seat written on page 1. So here's the deal. By the end of this video, you'll have one sentence built to be said while your feet are already moving that protects everything the exit puts at risk, and a warning. There's one thing at this stop Americans can lawfully refuse, and you cannot. Refuse it here, and the refusal itself is the crime. I'll show you exactly which one. The moment that ruins evenings isn't the exit. It's the question that arrives once you're standing. First though, a court case about these exact 5 words with a $38,000 answer. Quick word before that door opens. There's no invented career on this channel, just plain English Australian law, checked against the statutes. New South Wales, 2017. A 17-year-old named Trent Exton is told, "Can you get out of the car? I don't want to have to drag you out." He gets out. He later sues, and the trial judge awards him $38,072 for false imprisonment. Then the Court of Appeal reverses it. State of New South Wales versus Exton. A direction to get out of a car without more is not an arrest and not a detention. Hold both halves because both matter tonight. The direction alone doesn't put you in custody, and Australia's judges had to spend an entire appeal mapping this precise moment. Courts don't draw lines where nobody crosses them. Before your door opens, the short list you owe in full, because getting that part wrong is how quiet stops turn into charges. None of this next part is optional. In New South Wales, you stop when directed. The same section 39 of LEPRA that prices refusing a direction covers failing to stop at all. You give your name and address and produce your licence under section 175 of the Road Transport Act. You blow into the tube every single time and you do the saliva wipe when it's asked. Victoria writes the duty into section 59 of the Road Safety Act, including a duty to obey lawful directions. Queensland enforces its directions through section 791 of the PPRA. And here the hard line early. No incantation unwrites a statute, and the bloke selling you one online has never stood where you're standing. The officer owes things back. Section 202 of LEPRA, name, place of duty, the reason. with the honest fine print. One number for scale. One number for scale. NSW police ran 3.8 million random breath tests in 2022, and only about one driver in 250 blew over. The stops are routine. What happens at your door tonight isn't. And then the 5 words arrive, dressed as a favour. Do us a favour and step out of the car for me. Listen to the shape of it. A favour-shaped sentence, engineered to skate past the only question. Which power is this riding on? Under Section 38 of LEPRA, an officer exercising a stop, search or detention power can give reasonable directions to facilitate the exercise of the power. Read that twice. The direction serves a power. It isn't one. 4 powers can be sitting underneath those 5 words tonight. An arrest, a vehicle search, impairment testing, a seizure. Now the 2 wrong answers. The first, why? What have I done? The voice climbs, the hands leave the wheel, and the notebook writes its opening word. The second is quieter. The silent leap, door open, feet on the road, not one question asked. That writes consent. Here's the counter, and it's the entire skill. You move and ask at the same time. Compliance in the body, the question in the mouth. How you leave this seat decides what the next 10 minutes can lawfully become. And you need to watch both instincts lose before the words will hold under pressure. The fighter loses first and loses loudest. Refuse the direction outright, and if a power was underneath it, you've bought Section 39, up to $5,500 or 12 months. Let a hand drift near an officer and Section 546C of the Crimes Act stacks, resist or hinder, up to 12 months of its own. Now the leper, far more common. You're out agreeable. Nothing was tested, and the report reads like cooperation shading gently into consent. That's the no-win frame, fight, and the notebook writes obstructive, float, and it writes no objection raised. Either way, someone else is drafting your evening, which is where Exton cuts. Both directions. The direction alone tells you nothing. It doesn't declare your status. Left unasked, it's a blank, filled in later by someone who isn't you. Your questions are the only pen you hold out here, and there are exactly 2 worth the ink. They're coming. But first, what the exit is actually for, because it was never about where you're standing. The door stands open now, and here's the trade you just made. Job 1 of the exit, it separates you from your space. In the seat you were settled. On the bitumen, you're smaller, colder and chattier. Chattier is the point. Job 2, observation. Standing, you're a full-length read. Gait, balance, eyes, speech. The exact inputs of an impairment assessment, quietly gathering before anyone's mentioned one. Job 3. The open door is a window with no glass in it. Whatever's visible inside sits in plain view. Whatever's now visible inside sits in plain view, and plain view feeds grounds. Then the bitumen questions start. Big night, was it? Where'd you start out? Whose car is it, mate? Every answer another line in an account you're writing standing up for someone else's file. Identity yes, itinerary no. Your details are owed. Your evening is not. In 2024, Australian police ran 500,683 roadside drug tests and 10.5% came back positive, 17 times the alcohol strike rate. The bitumen beside your open door is precisely where that pipeline begins. Now, if your plan came from America, it's dangerous. Pennsylvania versus Mims, 1977. The US Supreme Court held that police may order any driver out of any lawfully stopped car as a matter of course, no reason required ever. 20 years later, Maryland versus Wilson stretched it to passengers. Australia never passed that rule. No blanket step out power here. Now the half that bites. In practice, it barely matters because every real power at this stop carries a directions power on its back. Searching under Section 36 in NSW. Section 38 directions ride along. Queensland's Section 31 authorises detaining occupants. Victoria bolts it to Section 59. Arrest, search, testing, seizure. Any one of them makes the exit lawful. Here's the honest residue. At a bare RBT, clean reading, whether they can order you out is genuinely unsettled law in this country, which is exactly why your move never depends on winning that argument on the gravel. We're close to the words now. The real danger was never the exit. It's the question that comes once you're standing. You're out, calm. Mind if I have a quick look? Write this somewhere permanent. Stepping out is not consenting. The two run on completely different legal rails. The exit answered a direction. A search needs a power. A search needs reasonable suspicion. Or it needs your yes. The case where a driver's go for it, mate, turned an unlawful search lawful is called Leonard. Tonight it gets one line. Every ground the officer lacks, your shrug supplies. Saying no cannot itself become his suspicion. The wrong response here is momentum. I'm already out, may as well. The decent instinct doing the trick's work for it. The counter is 6 words, folded into the sentence in a moment. I don't consent to any search. Now the sentence, built to be said with your feet already moving, hand on the handle, door swinging, and as your feet find the road. Officer, I'm stepping out. I'm not resisting. What's the power, and am I free to go after this? I don't consent to any search, and I'd rather not answer questions. Save this screen. Say it once tonight. Say it with the keys in your hand so it arrives as memory, not invention. Again. Officer, I'm stepping out. I'm not resisting. What's the power, and am I free to go after this? I don't consent to any search, and I'd rather not answer questions. Now every clause. I'm stepping out satisfies Section 39. It satisfies Section 39 while your body's already moving, and it strangles obstructive and uncooperative before any pen can reach them. What's the power? Teeth, not theatre. Section 202 obliges the officer to give the reason. So you're inviting him to perform his own statutory duty. Am I free to go? Exton's gift. Justice Baston held that words carry detention only when compulsion rides with them. A direction alone isn't custody. Make the status declare itself. I don't consent to any search. Leonard's door bolted. I'd rather not answer questions. The identity line held, details owed, evening kept. Delivery is half the machine. Delivery is half the machine. Level, unhurried, almost dull. The forgettable driver is the free one. And the trained voice still has 2 moves left. Push 1 arrives wearing sympathy. If there's nothing going on, why all the questions, mate? You don't audition your innocence. Same words, same level, same sentence. Push 2. We can do this the easy way, or we can be here a while. Same sentence. Muscle, not memory. Picture how this goes. Blue lights. Buckle off. Window down. Do us a favour and step out. Of course, officer, I'm stepping out. I'm not resisting. What's the power? And am I free to go after this? Just a license check, mate. No worries, here's everything. I don't consent to any search, and I'd rather not answer questions. The torch makes one board pass. The license comes back. Righto, you're right to go. Door, buckle, road. One line of moral. Nothing in that was defiance. A driver who moved when the law said move, asked what the law lets him ask, and left the stop nowhere to grow. But there's a fork past this point. The refusal, that is the crime. The fork has two arms. If a power gets named, search, arrest, test, you comply in full. Argument moves to a courtroom. If nothing gets named, you're driving home. Now the debt paid. The American advice that convicts Australians. Over there, sobriety tests are voluntary. Here, they are not. In NSW, refuse and police can arrest you for compelled blood and urine, with penalties up to 30 units or 18 months. In Victoria, refusing a drug impairment assessment is its own offence, a mandatory minimum 2-year disqualification. First offence, no discretion. Queensland's Section 80 runs the same one-way door. The sentence you've learned refuses questions and searches. Never, ever tests. Get that backwards and it outprices anything. 2 edge cases. Your passenger can be directed out. Queensland's Section 31 literally says occupants, but their identity is only owed on their own legal trigger. No safety pat down here. Touching you needs reasonable suspicion under Section 21. Don't be the door holder or the bitumen barrister. One breath now. The whole door closed properly. Every one of these rules, the 4 powers, the exact words I've gathered in a book called Know Your Rights. Link in the description. Stop, details, license. Every test, owed in full every time. The exit, comply and ask in the same breath. One breath. Carry the contrast. In America, they can order you out for no reason. Here, refusing a loan can cost $5,500. Know which country you're standing in. This is general information. If tonight goes past a stop, the video ends and a lawyer begins. Legal aid exists in every state. Subscribe for the next door. Subscribe for the next door, so the next time a favour arrives wearing a uniform, you already know which question opens it. Take the ending you just earned, the door swinging shut with that solid sound doors make when the night is over, the buckle clicking home, the blue and reds letting go of your mirrors. Window, when the voice says, "We've had a call about you," the entire rule book changes. That video will be available soon.